I'm here today at Nationwide Arena with Dean Evason, the brand new coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Dean, first of all, welcome. I know you've been in this building many times with other teams in the league, but to come here and be the head coach of this team right now, what are the feelings as you get into this role for the first time?
Well, obviously pretty special. I mean, clearly to get an opportunity in the National Hockey League where there's only 32 jobs for head coaches, it's special. I don't, it's not something that I take for granted. But to come to Columbus and you talk about Columbus, everybody talks about what a fabulous city, what incredible people they are here. But most importantly for me as the head coach is that the franchise is stable. It's got a good foundation. It just, great core of players, young players coming up. We're excited. Obviously, Don Waddell is a veteran and a guy that's going to, lead us, to continue on winning and building and ultimately to achieve our goal is winning the Stanley Cup.
You were in Minnesota for parts of 5 years as the head coach of the Wild there, and the beginning of the season didn't start off the way that you guys wanted to. It ends up costing you your job. At that point, it's such a tough situation, right? I mean, you're still getting paid, but where's my next opportunity going to be? How long was that season for you from then until you got offered this job just days ago, just, wondering what is next for you?
Well, first off, very, appreciative of what and the opportunity that we had in Minnesota. We loved it there. Loved coaching there. Same thing. Loved the people. Dove into the community. It was fantastic. And when you get into this business as a player, as a coach, as a manager, trainer, whatever, you know that things are going to happen in a negative light as far as getting let go. And if you go into it with an open mind and you go into it with no regrets and not holding grudges afterwards, and believe that what you've done and what we did there will hopefully give us another opportunity in the game somewhere, and hopefully in the National Hockey League. And we're very fortunate that we have this opportunity now.
What was this process like for you from the time that you first talked with Don and you first got into it up until the time where you accepted the job?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, right? I mean, from behind the scenes, but we had spoken, a few times, obviously, and it's late in the season, clearly, the summer season for hirings and what have you. But the thing that impressed me the most about the whole process is the communication. The communication with Don has been upfront and honest right from the start. Clearly, there's steps to get to this point as far as the interview and speaking to different people, and just happy we're here now.
Yeah, and how much did you know Don at all from your time in the league?
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero.
That's even better, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I knew who Don Waddell is. We all do in the hockey business. He's a lifetime hockey guy, and he's accomplished so much throughout his career. And so, I clearly spoke to people about who he was and how he, conducts himself and all of that. But yeah, the first time that I met him was, I don't know, a little over a week ago. But we spoke on the phone quite a bit, and very happy with the start of our relationship. Has been fantastic so far.
Yeah, and you worked for Bill Guerin when you were in Minnesota. He's kind of a different kind of guy on the outside from Don Waddell. And I say that maybe Don is just a little bit more reserved and not as out in front as Bill Guerin seems to be. Have you noticed any comparisons between those two guys just in this short period?
Pretty sure there's nobody as outgoing as Billy Guerin. All right, that right from the start. Great deal of respect for Billy Guerin. One of the first texts I got was from him. I've talked to him since, and everybody's like, well, wait a minute, he fired you. How are you still talking to him? That's just what happens, right? I mean, one, you don't burn bridges, and, two, you don't have any animosity and, and hold any grudges. So is there similarities? Sure. They're both passionate, hardworking guys. couple of Americans. Being a Canadian, I will be at odds a little bit when the Olympics roll around and what have you. But yeah, for sure. I mean, any general manager at this level, obviously, you have a great deal of respect for as putting teams together and building. But I think there's a lot of similarities with the communication that I've seen already from Don, and how upfront and straightforward it is. Billy was the same way.
I want to talk about your coaching philosophies, because when I look at your playing career, it was a long playing career. You had just under 400 points. You had over 1,000 penalty minutes in the years that you played there. First of all, when you see somebody that has a long career, it means that you had to do the job right. Whatever the job was, you had to be doing it right, and there was accountability for you. Are you the same way toward your players today? Are you a big accountability guy?
Yeah. Accountability might be my favorite word, obviously. Walking into a dressing room or any scenario, a coach's room, is to be accountable to yourself, accountable to your teammates. So yeah, we use that a lot. Our hockey club's philosophy, what have you, is it's work-based. We want to be an aggressive hockey team that never gets outworked on any given night. So yeah, we'll be a pressure team. We'll be an intense team. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing working with that thought process to bring the guys together to play hard each and every night to win hockey games.
Now, obviously, when you got interested in this job, first thing you do is start studying the roster and the prospects and the whole 9 yards. You already mentioned that you feel the future is very bright here when it comes to the players in this organization. When you look at it, what do you like the most about it? And have you kind of targeted a couple of guys that you know for sure are going to be your type of guys right from the get-go, those kind of leaders you're going to be looking for?
Not necessarily. I hope every player is my type of guy, our type of guy that works extremely hard. That's where the basis is going to come from. Have we looked at the roster? Sure. Have we dove into it as far as combinations and what have you? No, obviously we're early in the process, but what we like is the core. The core group is real strong. Obviously, I've been speaking to different people and about the young talent that's coming in and the skill set. And again, just looking forward to continuing to build forward to our ultimate goal. And again, that's the Stanley Cup.
I guess one guy that obviously stands out, not just because he's the captain of this team, but the way that he plays night in and night out. We're talking about accountability, and nobody really embodies that like Boone Jenner does here.
No question. And from the outside looking in, obviously I haven't met Boone yet, but from the outside looking in, from his World Junior days to watching his career develop, yeah, for sure. It's somebody that I'm positive we're going to lean on and make an example of. Is we want to play like this guy, like our captain, and how hard he works. And again, I hope that there's on a given night, all 18 guys skating and our goaltender are going to work exactly the same way, not only game nights but practices and in the gym. But we will definitely be looking forward to Boone Jenner leading our hockey club forward.
Yeah, you've been on that other bench a lot of times and had to have him play against your team, so you know what he's all about.
Yeah, plays hard every night, plays physical, intense, leads, has a skill set, obviously offensively and defensively. But again, he never gets outworked on any given night.
So what is on tap for you now? You've gotten the job, you do your media tour, and now you really have to go to work. You mentioned earlier it's late in the summer, no question about that, but there are a lot of things you have to do. What are the next couple of steps that you take? Well,
the first step is to talk to every player. We might make a couple of trips to see some guys, but you start to build relationships. Obviously, I've got to build relationships. We've got to put a staff together. You've got to build relationships with your staff. But most importantly, you got to start building relationships with the players. And that means communication right away, to speak to them. If you can look them in the eye face to face, that's the best. but definitely to speak to them on the phone right away so that we can start that process of communication. It's such a big part of today's game, the communication with these players now, young or old, and just get a feel for exactly what and who they are, and obviously they get an opportunity to get a feel for who I am right away.
Can you expand on that just a little bit? Because, I've talked to people before, some older coaches who are like, everybody wants to know why now. You can't just tell somebody to do something. They want to know why. In today's world, you have the answer to every question in the palm of your hand, right, when you carry your phone around. So obviously you want to know why. How important is that to communicate that why, and maybe even more importantly, the way that you communicate that?
I think there's so many different ways that you can communicate with anybody, honestly. And but if you do it like this, and you do it in this setting, and you do it straight up and honest, regardless if it's a positive message or a negative message, no different than if you're sitting a guy out or not playing him in a different situation. As long as you're honest and you're upfront with that guy, then you can have that rapport, you can have that respect factor, and then you can work forward. And so I think it's literally, it doesn't have to be one-on-one meetings, doesn't have to be, bringing them into your office. It can be sitting down in a stall, it could be taking them for lunch, it can be what have you, but you have to start building that trust moving forward so that not only we as a coaching staff, myself as a head coach, can trust that player, but the player can trust that he can come in and speak to me at any point.
What kind of a training camp plan do you have? Like, you've run them before. So is there a set plan that you have, or do you alter your plan based upon the players that you have with this team as opposed to what you had before?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been asked that a lot because you have your structure for your training camp, but clearly I haven't even looked at our preseason schedule or what days we have as far as setting it up. But you have to get your systems dialed in, which means your meetings, your video meetings, and then your practice plans and all of that. And then you got to structure it around your preseason. But you set your structure, no different than your system, and then you tweak it based on your personnel. Once we get involved, once we get into it, once we start seeing some games, see our group, we'll start watching video, and we will start tweaking how we're going to play within the structure that we've put in place.
When you talk about that structure, one thing that Don Waddell said from the time that he got here is a stat that jumped out at him was the goals against and the number of pucks that were winding up in the net. How much will you stress within your system, within your structure, and cutting that down in the way that you play defense, team defense?
Yeah. Well, I spoke about pressure and aggressive and work-based and, intense hockey. That's all over the ice. And there's no question it has to start from keeping the puck out of your net. Everyone wants to score goals. We'd love to score goals off of the rush every single time. But we got to get the puck out of our zone, and we got to get it through the neutral zone. We got to stop it. So there's a lot of different elements to the game. But as far as keeping the puck out of the net, it's the same philosophy. It's pressure. It's commitment to play defense, to have that ability to get that pressure situation in the right areas so that we can get going up the ice, so that we can have some fun and we can score some goals. But keeping the puck out of the net is going to be a priority, no question.
All right, so you talked about what you have to do hockey-wise now. What about personally? I mean, you're coming to a new city. You got to find a place to live. You got to figure out the neighborhood, wherever you're going to live, all that kind of stuff. How quick are you going to get on that?
This afternoon. My wife's here with me, and so we're gonna get a feel for things the next couple of days. But the exciting thing for us is how much we've heard about what a wonderful place this is to live, what wonderful people there are here. So we don't think it's going to be a difficult transition at all.
What do you like to do when you're not at the rink?
Well, apparently there's some nice golf courses here. That is definitely my passion, is to play golf. I do a lot of different things. Enjoy the theater, and my wife and I will get into the community. We will, as far as PR stuff, as far as what the management would like us to do, and the PR people as far as getting in the community. And that doesn't mean just going to hospital visits. It's getting involved in the community as far as going to hockey games and what have you, and building a relationship with our fan base. I think is important not only for the players, but for the coaching staff as well.
You mentioned that a couple of times. Does that go back to when you were a player as well, or do you just feel like when you're heading up the organization that you need to be all in?
Yeah, and I think it's important to give back, and I think it's rewarding for us as management and players is to give back. The fans are coming to watch us play. They want to see us play hard and passionate. They want to get to know who you are as well, and I think that's an important part of the game today is building a relationship with your fan base. And 100%, I will be encouraging not only to the players but to our staff to get out there and build that relationship with our fan base.
So I've noticed throughout this entire time how nice and calm and measured you are, but I've seen the videos of you on the bench after games, and I can't wait to see that passion that you bring to the game itself.
You know what? People have talked a lot about that, obviously, and it's not something that I consciously thought of or do. It's just I don't understand why coaches have to sit there and be quiet and stoic and just whatever. After win, I'm as excited as anybody. So, yeah, do you have to have composure so that your team stays balanced and has composure in situations in the game? Sure. Is there times when I've taken it over the top? Yeah, but you can't change your personality because you're now the head coach of a National Hockey League team. It's who I am. I will continue to be fiery or excitable or what have you. And if we win a hockey game, yeah, I'm pretty jacked.
And as they say, a team takes on the personality of its coach, and you want your team to be excited. When things are going well, you want them to feel good about it, right?
Yeah, we want them to be composed in situations where we need to have composure and be calm. But when there's time to get excited and time to be jacked, then absolutely 100%. And one of the biggest things for me, and you mentioned ex-playing, is that you're a good teammate and you play hard for the guy that's sitting beside you. And our group will do that every night.
Well, Dean, thank you very much. It's great to get to meet you and talk to you for a couple of minutes here. And like I said, really looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with this group. I know you're going to love it here in Columbus. I can tell you after being here for a long time. So best of luck to you and your wife as you go around and get those personal things settled, and look forward to seeing you at training camp.
Thank you very much.